Happy Friday to you, and welcome to another episode of Ask Britt Shit. I'm still out of whiskey, so I am back at it with the Uller, the festive peppermint schnapps liqueur mix. I think that's what it says on the bottle. I don't know. Oh man, there was a time in my life, friends, when I thought Uller was like the best alcohol around. I like all the peppermint tingly sensation in my mouth, and that's well and good and all, but I don't think I could drink this like I used to. Alright, first question comes from Joe. Scanning. I wanted to know your all-time favorite monsters or battles in all of the Mario series of all time. That is a very, not a hard question. It's just going to require me to think a little bit. Thanks. I don't think I've ever thought about this before. With Super Mario World, I have to say, I think the final boss battle, there we go, with Bowser, was my favorite. I think part of it was purely nostalgic reasons, because I think that could have been the first game my dad and I ever finished together, because we started it together when I was 5, we finished it, and I just remember like the music and the dark background, and I liked how he was floating around in that gross mechanical clown face thing. I don't know the actual name of it. And I liked how he would throw the Mega Koopas at you, and you have to stomp them and throw them up and hit them on the head, and then he would drop like the balls down. And I don't know, for some reason, that one definitely stands out. It was a very momentous experience for my father and I. Right. For Super Mario RPG, that's my other favorite Mario game. The wedding cake. That was just funny because it's a fucking, I think button cake is technically what, it's like a wedding cake and it like attacks you, and I just think that's pretty funny. I will stop there for now because I have many more questions to get to, including another question of Joe's. From the first 3 seasons of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, who were your favorite heroes and your favorite monster? So for my favorite Power Ranger, back in the day, I grew up watching Power Rangers. My dad and I would watch it together all the time. I had the Megazord, like remote controlled. I had all the action figures. I had the t-shirts, I had the costumes. I was Kimberly for Halloween, and I had like those awesome pink, well not pink, well mine were pink, but the gloves that had the little button right here, and you try to do this, it would make that swishy sound. So I'd be like, and it was awesome. Okay, so anyway, Kimberly was my favorite. I thought Tommy was the hottest. Got all of that green/white ranger goodness. As far as my favorite monster goes, I gotta be honest, I can't remember a lot of them off of the top of my head, but I do remember the putties. Everyone remembers the putties, and I always thought something about those guys were like kind of cool. I like how they'd come out of like nowhere. They'd be like, whoa, and then they would get attacked and they would die. I don't know. Just me? All right. All right, retiring the Uller. Retiring. Oh, I feel like I'm breathing like fire right now. The next question comes from Eric Jacques. I think I answered your question not that long ago, which is why I think I know how to pronounce your last name. Jacques. Here is the question. If I could speak, it would help. For your next Ask Britt Shit segment, what's the most favorite brand in video games history, their favorite product they made, and why? So Eric, if I'm not mistaken, I believe you're asking me who is my favorite developer/publisher in the industry, and what is my favorite thing that they've ever made. I feel like that's a more critical question than the day when someone will ask me to marry them. Like, that's how much pressure that question puts on me. What is your favorite video game? That's a lot of pressure for me. I don't know if I can handle that kind of pressure, because that makes me choose between so many different video games that I love so much. And I love them all for many different reasons, so I feel like you can't really compare them. Yeah, I'm copying out of this question, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I suck. I'm sorry. Lawrence Brenna, do you think it's harder becoming part of the video game journalism community now? And do you think that will increase? Ooh, let's get serious here. Real talk, yeah, I think it definitely is getting harder, and I think that's because of I talk to colleagues about this from time to time, and the word that we generally use is saturated, and I feel like that kind of has a bad connotation to it, so I don't mean it in that sense, but there's just a lot, we'll use the word dense. The industry is a lot more dense now than it was when I started, if that makes sense, and a lot of people are trying to do what they see a lot of their favorite media journalists do or YouTubers do, and understandably so. I mean, that's why I got started in the first place, is I saw someone doing what I thought was amazing, and I'm like, I want to do what she does. And so that's why I started doing what I do. That was in 2009, and even that was some will consider to be late to the game, in the sense that people were doing what I'm doing, what others are doing years before that. So thankfully, when I started, it was still a very small pool of people. And I feel like there were slim pickings, and I don't mean that in a terrible way, but I mean like the amount of people who were on Twitter then compared to now, people who are on YouTube then compared to now, you had a lot more spotlight, right? And now because there are so many more people doing it, it's hard to gain traction and get attention and get that spotlight. So yeah, and I think that's only going to increase. That said, you should not be discouraged. You should do what makes you happy, and if trying to pursue this career, and by no means I don't consider myself to be like a role model, I don't consider myself to be like living the dream, well, I mean, sort of, but I'm not 100% happy where I am now, if that makes sense. I don't know if that makes any sense at all. But all I'm saying is that if you want to do the kind of stuff that I do, and how I would clarify what I do is I get to go to conventions as media, I get to do E3 stuff, I do cool promotions with publishers and sometimes developers, and sometimes I get game reviews. If that's the kind of thing you want to do, that's awesome. Yeah, absolutely do it. Don't be discouraged by the amount of people who are also doing it, because there's only one you, and only you can fill that void. Okay, did that make any sense? I hope that made sense, because I totally winged that, but all in all, what I'm trying to say is yes, I think it is more difficult, and I think it's going to continue to get more difficult, but I don't think that should discourage anyone from trying to follow their dreams, because if you are doing something you love, regardless or not if you're getting paid for it, you are doing better than 99% of the people out there. So go girl and boy. Part 2 of Lawrence's question: what game needs an official downloadable insurable drink list / menu? You didn't just see this, but I just edited out me burping like 15 times because of that fucking Nooler, and I feel like my sinuses like are pepperminty fire of death right now. What? Legend of Zelda, I feel like would be really, really good for this, because yeah, there's like a bunch of things you could do. You can make a drink called the fucking Lon Milk, or you can make a drink called the Navi Serum. Oh, that sounds really weird. Oh, that sounds terrible. Or like the Bomb Chew, or the Boomerang. I feel like Mario would be another really good one too. I'm gonna roll with Zelda. I mean, there are some bars out there who are awesome and rad, and they're video game themed bars, and they have made their own drink concoctions based off of these items, but I feel like Nintendo came out with an official like drink menu. That'd be fucking awesome. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this sort of long episode of Ask Britt Shit. I hope you enjoyed my weirdness, and thank you again for all of your questions. If you have any questions, the best way is honestly at this point, I say YouTube, Twitter, whatever, email me. My email address is in the little thing below where people put information about themselves, a drop down box. I don't fucking know. That's just the best. Otherwise they get lost, and it's not good for anyone. Bye.